Are we live? I think we're live. Let's see. Oh, there we go. All right, we're live. Testing some things out here. We're in the middle of a 7-round walk the mock draft. Member mock draft here, so that's going on currently. We can run back through it in a second. Yeah, we're through a part of it. The main purpose of the stream was to have this kind of playing in the background, and I wanted to test some things out because I'm using some different equipment settings for streaming. So I did want to test some things out, and I can answer some questions while we're here as well. But you kind of can see what's going on here. We can scroll through that in a second. I'm trying to figure out how all this works. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. If I'm not, talking about or talking at all, I'm testing some things out, trying to mess with some things. So that'll be why. It's just we plan on streaming day one of the NFL draft. We still got to work some things out, but I'm testing some things out. Your content is super sick to watch and follow. Keep it up. Appreciate it very much. Will do. Realistic chance the Cardinals trade up for Pitts. Wouldn't rule it out. I just don't see it happening. They would have to go up pretty damn far. They have other needs besides, just a Pitts. Who do you think is the biggest bust of the draft? Biggest potential bust? Mac Jones, a common answer. ETN, I guess, is one. I don't really, last year I thought there was quite a few bust potential guys. I don't see many this year. Some of those running backs. Could say I like the two top offensive linemen, but you could say them because I don't really think so though. But you could say them because they're lacking length that some teams look for tackle. But then worst case, they're going to be a pretty good guard. I think Nico Collins ends up being one of the riskier ones because he could be a bust. You almost got to switch his position. If you keep him in the same position, he's not going to be able to play the same type of role that he played at Tulsa, and he's too heavy for the linebacker position. So there's some big question marks there. Will the Colts trade back from 21? I think it's possible. They could be waiting to see if a left tackle's on the board for them. I think most likely one of those good ones aren't. I would like for them to take a pass rusher. I think there's going to be a good one there. But it just depends on what they're targeting. If they're targeting tackle, those tackles are gone like we expect. I think they'll trade back. They'll try to recoup some of those picks from what is the title of the stream? I don't remember titling the stream. It just started. But yeah, the Colts could recoup some picks from what do you call it? The Carson Wentz trade. I'm still not getting the hang of live streaming for some reason. I have no problem recording. It's a different software, so I think we got Cowboys. We'll come back through this here in a second. Oh, there I am. Pull that up because I'm trying to let's see. Trying to fix some things here. Live. Okay. Back to it. All right, yeah, I'm messing with a lot of things here. So it's mainly a kind of a test stream. I'm testing some things out. We got this member mock playing in the background. I'll recap this at some point, but this is hard to test out while being live. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, that's how that works. Okay. All right. I don't know if there'll be a next one. We got a lot. We've done a lot of these, and so we got a lot to get to. Some things that I've been working on, some content for this week. I'm probably not gonna be able to get anything, but get everything done, I should say. If the Bears do trade up for Fields, how good does he make them? Right away, he makes them better, but how much better? I think under Nagy's really struggled with the quarterbacks. I wouldn't expect too much better year one. That's why it's tough. They'd have to trade a lot away, and that's kind of for the Fields is more for the future. At the same time of trading away future, how long does Nagy and Pace have? So that's why I don't really think it happens. Who could the Jags draft at 25? They can draft a number of guys. ETN's a possibility. Wouldn't really agree with it. I mean, they can go a number of routes. They can go Marreg or Holland. Pretty common there. Heard Richie Grant could sneak in the first. I just don't really see it. But they could use a safety. They don't really need a free safety, though. I would like Gregory Rousseau for 3-4N if they do plan on playing a 3-4. Go a number of routes there. They can go wide receiver. They can go a guy like Kadarius Toney because they don't really have a true slot receiver. Could you see the 49ers trading back into the first and taking Najee Harris? They have met with him quite a bit. I don't think meeting with them necessarily means much. I don't think they'll value a running back like that. I don't think Shanahan will value a running back like that. Trading up, giving away more picks. You already gave up picks to go up to 3. That's extreme value. Not only drafting a running back in the first round, that's extreme value. Trading back in, giving up more picks. I don't think they'll value it like that. I'd be shocked, actually. Let's see. Been going on with this mock is we're flying through this actually. I did do 1 minute per pick. That'd probably explain a lot. Oops, what the hell did I just do? We had Zach Wilson go 1. I didn't even realize that. Zach Wilson went 1. Do not have my mouse where I want it. Then Trevor Lawrence went 2, of course. Trey Lance, Kyle Pitts, Sewell. The Bears did trade up for Justin Fields. Broncos go Kwity Paye. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of interesting picks here. It's kind of what happens with these, though. We've got 32 different people playing GM. We got a bot for the Titans. The position was filled before we started. I'm not really sure what happened there, so that's unfortunate. But let's see. Do you think the Packers could target a guy like Javon Holland in the first? I've heard they've done extra homework on him, so people think they're taking him. I just don't see it. They haven't really valued a slot corner, which he could play too much in the past, but maybe they start doing it. If they took Holland, I believe that's what they're going to start to do, because you don't think they'll be taking him for safety because they got a pretty damn good duo in Amos and Savage. So if they took Holland, it would be because they're valuing the slot position a little more under their potential new defense. I just don't think it happens, though. I just do not think it happens. Do you think Washington trades up for a quarterback? Wouldn't rule it out. It's definitely died down, though. It's definitely died down because at first we heard a lot of that talk, but I'd say if they had their offensive line fully set, I think it depends on how they feel. If they feel a guy like Sadiq Charles can step up, maybe they think they're set at offensive line. The only thing they need is quarterback. They could use a linebacker as well, but if they feel they're set, which they do have a pretty damn good roster, they trade up and do it. So we'll see. If the Chargers go Horn at 13, do you think we should trade up with our second? Where'd it go? Our second and a 1 or 2/3 and get Elijah Vera Tucker or someone else for O-line? I'm probably not, because you have to trade up pretty far. You'd have to pretty much trade up. I mean, you pick Horn at 13, the Vikings might take Elijah Vera Tucker or Chargers pick 13, they take their guy. The Vikings might take him at 14. So you have to trade up pretty damn far, and you think you're just giving up a bit too much. Landon Moore donated $1.99 through Super Chat. I was AFK for the first Jaguars pick. Pretend Trevor. Yeah. Okay. That's unfortunate. But it's all right. Do I think the Cardinals trade up for Waddle or Horn? I think it's more likely to be a corner, but we've been hearing receiver, but I think that could be smoke, could be corner. Still don't believe the Mac Jones. Yeah, a lot of people don't believe they still don't want to believe the Mac Jones hype. I'm kind of, or not hype, but pick at 3. I'm still kind of believing it just because anytime I see someone say something within the league, it points towards Mac Jones. It's not some random person spreading it out, but it's just their opinion. They could be wrong. People have been surprised within the league. They're surprised every year on each pick. So, could Jamin Davis jump JOK? I definitely think he could. It all depends on what team feels is best of a fit. Jamin Davis is really the only true inside linebacker in the class that has the ability to play outside. JOK, outside / slot guy that only fits a handful of teams. So it's very possible that Jamin Davis could be gone first before JOK, I should say. Let's see. That's how I open the chat. Okay. That's good to know. I was looking how to open up the chat and a separate link there. I missed my pick. Oh yeah, I had to choose somebody. So in the simulator, you have to pick somebody. So I picked the Seahawks with the team with the least amount of picks. I'm not really paying attention too much. We can make a video kind of recapping each team, kind of go by team, see what they got the full 7 rounds. If Horn or Surtain's on the board, the Vikings would take one. I could see it. I can definitely see it. I'm not going to get to my 7-round mock for each team. We just won't be able to get to that. We got a lot other videos I want to get to, but we can kind of recap this team by team and see what the 7-round mocks look like, and I can react to them because 7-round mocks for each team, those take weeks, maybe a month to do. We just couldn't get to it. Extra free agency videos this year. I think the rebuild free agency videos were a problem. Those took a long time. Enjoy doing those, but it's probably not something we're going to do again because that really affected the whole process for me, and they don't get that many views, unfortunately. So those, we might be doing without those going in the future. Let's see. Miami takes in a tackle at 6. Should they trade up for a top 3 receiver? Yeah, I think it's a possibility if they go tackle. Yeah, if they go the opposite, I don't expect them to trade up. If they go tackle, they could trade back. If they possibly, we'll just talk about them trading back again. What if they go from like 6 to 9? We'll say they go from 6 to 9, gain more picks again. That tackle slips through. They feel like he's going to slip through. They take him, and then with the other pick, they kind of trade up. They still end up with picks, and they grab one of those receivers. So, possibility. A lot has to happen, obviously. Do I think Zach Wilson could be a bust? I mean, anybody could be a bust. I don't think it's likely. I think it's the reason why he's a second pick. But the Jets got a pretty good staff now, so I'm kind of confident over there. Oh, yeah, I got to scroll down on here. Baron Browning to the Saints. Somebody asked about the Cardinals. Cardinals took J.C. Horn. I'm kind of just scrolling through, so hopefully everyone can see it. Somebody wanted me to scroll down the second round here. Here's the second round. Picks are coming in like crazy. James Wiggins is solid in coverage. He's built like a linebacker, but he's pretty damn good in coverage. Good jumping routes, going up and attacking the ball at its highest point. He's had a lot of injuries. He's had a lot of injuries in the past. I think if it wasn't for those injuries, we'd be talking about Wiggins, maybe not first safety, but up there, definitely top 5 safety. Packers got Stokes kind of late there. That's pretty good. So there's the second round. We're scrolling through, and that's where we're at right now. De'Ami Brown or Marshall for the Packers. I wouldn't be against either one. I think De'Ami Brown's a better fit. Outside receiver, home run type of guy. I think him and Rodgers paired up. I mean, they have Devontae Adams, and then they're trying to work with kind of the downfield guys. You know, Lazard was a downfield prospect at Iowa State. He's still a downfield guy for the most part. Valdes-Scantling, definitely a downfield guy. And those guys are hit or miss. They're inconsistent. They got their big moments. So adding De'Ami Brown, big-time downfield guy. Adams can play in the slot. Brown outside. I mean, Adams can do both. I do really like that fit. I would like that pick for the Packers. Cards in the second round. Where were they? They trade one of these picks. Right there. No, right there. Bills traded up for Najee Harris. Cardinals got a 3 and a 4. That's what they did. There's a lot of things I wanted to test out while I was live. Well, I guess I know how that works. Let's see. Dax Milne. Yeah, Adam Thielen. I thought of the same thing. I think he's a poor man's Adam Thielen. There's pretty mixed thoughts on Dax Milne. I've heard somebody call him as high as a third round pick, and I've heard people say he's kind of like borderline even getting drafted. But that's hard to believe. You think he's got to get drafted, but basically third round got some people, and then some people say around 7th round. I think we could split the difference, and that kind of makes sense to me. I think around the 5th round, but we know there's going to be teams that really like that type of player, just kind of a sound, smart player, going to catch the ball, just not going to wow. You know, some teams like those guys. You know, I think Patriots, Vikings, you know, they compare him to Adam Thielen. Titans maybe. Would say good fit with the Colts, but they got enough of those receivers. I think it's kind of go big or go home. Colts got a good long list of receivers. They just need a big-time guy. So I wouldn't see them draft, even though I think it's a fit. I don't think I would see them draft one that late or maybe even the middle. Let's see. Has Amon-Ra St. Brown been drafted? We click on the receivers here. He's still available. First one there. Interesting stuff. All right, I'm testing some stuff again. I keep having this. I'm trying to see if I could. I got this chat. I want to see if I can take that link. Yeah, I should be able to. Yeah, okay. What teams do you see trading up for the draft? I wanted to make, so I don't know what video. I got a long list of videos. I just couldn't. I woke up today. I'm like, man, draft is 4 days away. There's still a ton of videos I had. I just kind of remember the videos I wanted to do. One was go through every team and what are they more likely to do? Trade up, trade back? Are they a hot trade up team? Maybe trade up team, but we'll see if we get to that. But what teams do you see trading up for the draft? Patriots are an easy choice, but I'm starting to think maybe they stay put. Maybe they don't trade up as far as we thought they would. I've heard about the Cardinals trading up. I'd say most likely they don't, but they're a trade-up team. Hear the Bears a lot. I just don't. I mean, Pace does trade up. They need a quarterback. They need one of those top guys. I just don't see it happening. They did want to go pretty big in free agency, and they really came away with nothing. You know, basically besides Dalton losing Fuller. Some really smaller minor signings. So they could, since they tried. They very much tried. You know, so you have to give them credit there at least. So maybe they want more picks to just get that load that they want and get them out, those players that they wanted. So maybe they trade back. They're not a trade back team, but maybe to get more picks. Let's see. Thoughts on Dez Fitzpatrick? Yeah, that's a late round sleeper. He was the guy at Louisville earlier in his career. Like, did we look at him and it's like, this is a future NFL receiver. You know, I don't know if anybody was saying first round, but, you know, around that range, really second round, day 2. But that was kind of the early projections. And then it kind of went downhill. Tutu kind of became the guy. But at the same time, the way Louisville's offense went, a little more, quicker developed plays, quarterbacks running quite a bit, and that kind of fits to the speedster receiver a little more. So Fitzpatrick could be back on track and have more of a, be more of a pro receiver, I guess. So I do like him as a late pick. We stream the draft. We usually stream during day one. We can't actually show the draft. We kind of get the sound in there when Roger Goodell goes to the podium. We usually do it every year. We're still working out some things. The setup in this room, this is the room we do everything in. The setup in here really changed when I got a much better PC for all this. It's way better. It makes my job easier. But this room is a lot more crowded, so it's kind of a pain in the ass when we got all of us in here. So we're trying to figure out how we can set this up. So we expect to answer the question, we expect to stream during day one of the draft with our reactions and things like that. So we're going to keep you updated. We should have this figured out by now, but we'll keep you updated. Hopefully an announcement tomorrow. And if you follow us on Twitter, then you'll get the updates. We got Jalen Darden. I like Darden. Was responsible for a lot of North Texas's offense. Very good in the slot. Twitchy guy. 3rd, 4th round. Cade Johnson. He's been getting a lot of buzz too. He was kind of just always open. It just didn't. The level of competition, made it pretty easy on him, I think. But he had production as well. A lot of production. Another guy, I feel more comfortable 4-5 range, but I've heard he can go maybe a little earlier. The Broncos go with the QB. At one point, we thought for sure, they're going to take one there. They're going to trade up. But then you start to hear that they actually never tried to trade up for a quarterback yet. So they said that. Does that mean they're actually just not in on a quarterback? They're not even trying. Does that mean they're trying to send that out there so people think they're not into a quarterback and they stay put and grab one then? Teams. That could be what it is. They're saying they're not trading up for – well, they haven't traded up. They haven't made the calls yet. And usually you do. You kind of get things set just in case. You make the call. So usually you do. And they're saying they didn't. So they could be honest. They could be telling other teams they don't need to trade up ahead of us. But so the guy falls to them. So you never know at this time of the year. All could be smoke. Who the Steelers pick so far. This is probably the easiest way to do it, to be honest. Elijah Vera Tucker. They're loading up the offensive line. They may have to do that. I would like for them to gain more picks, actually, because they act for a team that we expect to be good or should be good, a playoff team like they were last year. They need to fill. They got a lot of holes. They need tackles. They need guards. They need a running back. You need a corner. I think they need another pass rusher. And there's some other things that are somewhat needs, But they do need to get that offensive line set first, apparently. Range for Josh Palmer, 3-4, 3rd or 4th. I just don't see any other way, really. I think, I guess I wouldn't be floored if somebody gets some early 5. So I guess that's kind of the very latest early 5, but I would really say late 3rd. The range is kind of late 3rd, mid 4th, maybe. Darden for the 49ers in the 3rd round. I'd like it. I'd like it. He's considered undersized, so will they view him as it because they got a lot of those injury guys? Do they view him as another one of those they're adding into the mix? He didn't really get hurt, but never know. But I would like it. Yeah. There's a lot of Ravens fans that aren't happy with the pick of Elijah Moore. I think. Brown's not a slot guy. Hollywood Brown, you could probably put him there. He's more of an outside, downfield guy. Duvernay, I like Duvernay. He's just a rotation guy. It's a rotation guy with some upside. Ravens, what's your goal with the Ravens? Your goal is to win the Super Bowl. You're in that mode where you want to win the Super Bowl every year, so you want that instant impact. Elijah Moore gets instant separation. I love Elijah Moore. So I think that makes him instantly better. But if you don't want a slot receiver, it feels like you don't want a receiver at all because they're basically all slot receivers. And Prochet played a mixture of inside and out. He can play outside, but They didn't use those guys a whole bunch last year, so maybe they're not believing them too much. Maybe they can develop, but it's going to take some time. I just think get better now. A big problem last year was Lamar didn't have any help. There wasn't a quick enough separation from the receivers, so you can solve that in the first round of this draft, maybe in the second round, but that's if you want to solve it. And if you don't want Elijah Moore, it just sounds like, or a guy like that, it just sounds like you don't want to solve the problem. So that's my problem. But a lot of the fans are not happy with that pick, which is shocking to me. But that means they're not going to be happy with. That means they're not going to be happy with any pick down there unless it's a guy like De'Ami Brown. All those guys are slot guys. So if they take one, I would imagine the Ravens fans are going to complain again, like they are to me, that they didn't want a slot receiver. But I don't know, because that's what they're saying. So it's just surprising to me. Who do you like the most for the Patriots if they stay at 15 and no QB is available? I mean, it depends on who else is there. If Devontae Smith somehow slides through, I don't care how many receivers they got, grab them. I could see them going corner if one slips through because Gilmore's got 1 year left on his deal and J.C. Jackson has under the tender has 1 year left on his deal. I'd imagine they keep at least one of them. They could keep two if they really are confident they're going to keep two or both those guys, both corners, and they don't really need to draft one, then it's probably not a possibility. We learn things during the draft. That's why it's fantastic. If the Patriots take one at 15, if they take a corner, we're going to go, oh, okay. They don't, they maybe they're not extending Gilmore. They probably are. This is probably it for J.C. Jackson. Maybe they trade him under the tender. So we kind of learned some things during the draft, but they very well could be firm on they're going to keep both those guys for the long run. But I watch out for corner just for those reasons. Let's see. Do you think there's a chance Vera Tucker could fall? I think it could go as early as it could go. I mean, if teams trade down, that creates different situations, but you could go as early as 12. It could be a sneaky pick for the Eagles. No, I shouldn't say that. It could go as early as 11. The Giants would plug him in at guard. It's not my prediction, but that's the earliest he'll go. And the latest he'll probably go is the Colts pick. That's probably the very latest. So what is that? 11 to 21. So we got a 10-pick range there. I think that's the range. I do not see him getting by the Colts. Not that that's my prediction at this second, even though it has been at one point. It just could be. It's in that range. It's a 10-spot range there. Philly Green Bay trade. Where was that at? Packers. They didn't move back that far, and they got a fourth and a fifth. Kind of makes sense. Fifth, not a whole bunch of value there, but that's what happened. Do I think Jimmy G could get traded during the draft? I mean, probably not. I mean, it could happen, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to trade for him. I don't think they want that unless he agrees to like a pay cut, and that's a whole other situation. So I just don't think it happens. Do I think Molding can play free safety? I mean, he can. He got some reps there. I don't see any team drafting him for free safety. I really don't. If the team that drafts him could use him at free safety here and there. I just don't see a team drafting him for free safety. Let's see. What was the Baltimore Washington football team trade? Washington moved back to 27. They get a third, fifth, and a fifth. I don't know if they would mess around with those fifths. I think they probably wanted something else. A little valuable, more valuable even if it's next year. They got two fifths, I guess. Casey Hayward to the Raiders. I think that would be a good fit. I kind of expected either him or Richard Sherman to land with the Raiders, but didn't happen yet. Probably waiting till after the draft. Washington football team picks. Davis, Tryon, Tremble, another edge rusher, eh? Tremble, Surratt. Interesting. You see Dallas picking someone up in free agency after the draft. Depends on what they come away with. I mean, every team could. They're going to come away with prospects from their actual draft. They're going to come away with a bunch of undrafted free agents, and then they'll evaluate the free NFL free agents again. Are most free agents waiting till after the draft to sign? The free agents aren't waiting. The teams are waiting. They're waiting to see what they get in the draft because they'd rather have guys within the draft. If they can't get their guys, then they go back to free agency. Best case scenario for the Raiders. I'm kind of doing a best case scenario / options video, like a little preview for day one. Really excited about that video. I'm doing that early this week. Could actually be tomorrow, Monday. Could be. That one's a lot of work, but it's definitely one I wanted to do. Basically, what it was is each team's except for we go through each team in day that picks in day one, but three best options in my opinion. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Not prediction wise. It's just realistic options, but in the order of where I think is best to worst. Even though the third one's probably not worst, it's not considered bad, obviously. And then also is I'm going to have, for most teams, a trade-up option. If there's teams I don't think are going to trade up, early teams, obviously, they don't have one. A trade-back option, which in terms of prospect, and then what to avoid, whether it's mainly what to avoid. It's hard to explain right now without actually doing the video. It's very, very early on in the process. What to avoid, like trading down for this or forcing this, things like that. Trading up for this, things like that. Thoughts on Tevin Jenkins to the Ravens the first round? They'd probably have to trade up. It's a good fit. Like if the Ravens traded up, I don't see them staying put and getting him. I just don't see that. If the problem, trading up, on draft night, if the Ravens traded up and got Tevin Jenkins, first thing I would say, it's a really good fit. It's a good Orlando Brown replacement. I think he fits the scheme, but the big problem is they didn't really gain as many picks for Orlando Brown within that trade. They actually gave picks back. That's the big problem here. So then they will be trading away picks again for Tevin Jenkins. So it almost, in a way, is going to feel like you didn't get a whole bunch for Orlando Brown. You kind of just swap Brown for Tevin Jenkins in a way. I mean, you had to trade up then, So that's not going to – that's going to sting a little bit. It's going to be one of those. It's a good fit, pretty good player. He'll fit in at right tackle, but it's going to sting for those reasons. So it's one of those, But, again, they would have to trade up, my opinion. Who's your favorite edge rusher who is not getting the most buzz? I'm all in on Malcolm Kuntz. Kuntz, yeah, he's fast. He's definitely an athletic pass rusher. He's not the biggest pass rusher. I'm worried about him getting off NFL blocks, because sometimes he did even playing in the MAC level, but he's pretty flashy. I think if he does get going in the NFL, I think it's going to be some time. But you're talking like deep sleeper. I mean, if we're talking, I like Ronnie Perkins. That's not deep. That's kind of earlier. No one's really talking about Ronnie Perkins. I like his tape from Oklahoma. But if we're talking deeper, let's see. If we're talking kind of the deeper guys, I don't really in love with the late guys. I think I like Jonathan Cooper's tape from Ohio State. He just doesn't have the traits, really. That's the thing. Dalen Hayes from Notre Dame, he dropped in coverage a lot for Notre Dame, so that's useful to NFL teams, but with more pass rush reps, I think he can be more productive in the NFL level, so that could be a sneaky one. Those are kind of my late options there. Ellerson Smith from Northern Iowa, pretty freaky dude. We'll see. Let's see. Zach Wilson went number 1 because he was on auto select, so just take it as Trevor. Just swap it. We'll just take it as it. Do you see any chance Gilmore or J.C. Jackson is going to be moved during the draft? Thoughts on their value and possible destinations? I don't see Gilmore. That'd be a surprise if we're sitting there day one and Gilmore gets traded. It'd be a surprise. I think they want to. I think they want to extend Gilmore. I really think they do. J.C. Jackson's a possibility. I wouldn't really count on it happening, that J.C. Jackson gets traded during the draft. I should say. But it could happen. I think I said it back in free agency when they put a second-round tender on J.C. Jackson. They waited to the last second. Put a second-round tender, not a first-round tender, on J.C. Jackson. It felt like they wanted a team to sign him and they get a second-round pick back. That's real. I'm confident on that. That's really what it felt like. Nobody bit on the second, but maybe so that means nobody wants him for a second, so they wouldn't trade a second for him. That wouldn't make much sense. So if the Patriots are willing to let him go for a third-round pick plus, a third and a fifth maybe, that's a possibility to happen during the draft. It's a possibility. I don't see the Gilmore one. That would be wild, though. J.C. Jackson, I think, is a phenomenal fit with the Cardinals. A team like the Cardinals there would like him. I was talking about the Broncos were a good fit, but they picked up Kyle Fuller at that time. The Cardinals, if the Cardinals don't get a corner, if we're in the draft, Cardinals did not pick a corner in the first or the second round, I'd actually watch out for Cardinals, Patriots making a deal for J.C. Jackson. That'd be wild, but I think it could happen. But most likely the Cardinals end up with a corner in the first two picks. Does Dylan Moses go in the 6th round? Probably 5th round. I just don't see a whole lot of upside at the linebacker position there, but okay. Steelers. Okay, we'll take a look at the. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Browns, Steelers. These picks come in so fast that I can't. Oh, I can do that. Didn't know that. Somebody said the Browns, right? Jason Away, Milton Williams, KJ Britt, Victor Demukaje. Steelers. Somebody asked about a trade, right? No trade. Just they traded this, actually. Oh, yeah. So they did trade. Is it the same? Yeah, with the Vikings. 2 4th-rounders. And I say that's pretty good value for the Steelers there. I know you do move out of the 32nd pick in the third, though. That's pretty good value for the Steelers. Not something the Vikings, I don't think, would do in the actual draft because they're trade back guys. They don't have a second-round pick, though. They could move up in the second. Let's see. Which team do you think needs to nail their draft the most? It's an interesting question. Everybody needs to nail their draft the most, but I see what you're asking, really. I wouldn't look at the bottom teams, the teams that, need to get better, but they're not really going to compete for anything anyways. I look at the teams, borderline playoff teams, and the teams mainly look at the teams that think they can win a Super Bowl. Right now, before the draft, they think they can win a Super Bowl. Those teams need to nail it. Teams like the Ravens, team like the Steelers, both those teams in that division, because they could be good teams. It's pretty. The Ravens are pretty like a sure thing to be a good team. We just don't know how good. There's teams that could be a great team or could be a bad team. The Ravens really aren't one of those teams. They're going to be a good team, but they're supposed to be one of the best right now. They can be one of the best, so they have to nail the draft. They need a right tackle. Maybe they can pick up a guy for free agency, but they need one for the future anyways. They need a receiver, maybe receivers. They need a pass rusher. So that team needs to nail it. The Steelers have too many needs to be as good as they were last year. Way too many. So they need to nail it. I'd say 2 AFC South teams. You look at the Titans and the Colts. They're battling each other in that division. I think they need to nail it. The Colts have a little more needs than I thought they would at this point. And the Titans filled some needs, but then opened up some ones like receiver. So those teams to kind of battle each other need to nail it. The Jags are a team that they don't really need to win right now, within the season, of course, but they do need to nail. They need to avoid reaching in this draft. They have a load of picks. They brought in Urban Meyer. That's a lot. If that team reaches, it's worse than any other team out there. So they can't really. They don't need to nail it. They just can't blow it. They can't be reaching with the picks they got. They brought in Urban Meyer to just evaluate talent. So you take the best talent. Be pretty contradicting of them if they start reaching for guys. But yeah, I think mainly the Chargers are another team that maybe they're not the best contender right now. But they need to nail the draft as well because they filled some holes, but they opened up some and still left some at the same time. So I think they need to nail the draft as well. How many prospects have you evaluated this draft? I haven't counted yet. I'm still working on my spreadsheet with all the grades, and that'll come out. If you follow our Twitter, you'll get the link. That'll come out either probably on Wednesday. It's probably on Wednesday. A lot. It's a lot every year. Chauncey Golston from Iowa. Yeah, he has his moments. He has his moments. But yeah, I kind of came down on him a little bit. Watching a couple different games. He for a stronger guy, he doesn't really get off his block. He doesn't really get off the tackle as well as he should have. He kind of gets stuck behind it. He kind of gets stuck on the line almost. He gets up. He's trying to do his move. He's not really gaining any ground. So those are the things I don't like about him. But we have these flashes here and there, whether it's a spin move, some kind of move, or a bull rush. Kind of has his flashes, but there's just too much I don't like. I once was thinking maybe he can go in the 5th, but I think it could be because when teams are going for the edge rushers down there, the 5th, 6th, 7th, are they gonna, they're gonna take the upside guy. They're gonna take the traits guy. They're gonna take the small school, Ellerson Smith we talked about, just freaky athlete, freaky length, a lot more to work with than Chauncey Golston, but they'd rather take that guy in that range. You're not drafting guys in the end that are just set in at rotation guys. You want the boom or bust guys down there. Asante Samuel Jr., a sure thing to go top 40. I kind of want to see, just to refresh my memory, who's picking where. So that'd be a pick. So that'd be around here. I don't think he gets by the 49ers right here. I don't think he gets by this pick, Asante Samuel Jr. 11th pick in the 2nd round. I don't think he gets by that pick. 49ers just traded. Look at that. Let's see. Patrick Johnson from Tulane. I like Cam Sample better. I think Johnson's going to be a later. Yeah, it could be in that 5th, 6th range. I think teams rather take him than work with him than some other guys. Nico Collins should be in the 3-4 range, late 3rd. It's good because you got that big receiver that can make that contested catch very good in the red zone. He's got the speed too, which some of those guys are lacking, but he still needs to work on the separation department in that department there. Even though he has the speed, so some teams it's still a risky pick, even though he has the speed. Let's see. I'm gonna be right back. Bathroom break. And we're back. Who's a player who's top 10 or top 15 range that could fall down to a late 1st or early 2nd? I've heard some guys could fall down because of their medical checks didn't come back that great. So it could be a guy like Jalen Phillips. Maybe Caleb Farley drops down there. It'd probably be one of those guys if it happens. What do you think about Elijah Moore? We were talking about that. I like Elijah Moore a lot. He's my receiver 4. Very good at getting separation. Very good after the catch. Sure-handed guy. I think it's an instant impact type of guy. So I like him a lot. We can scroll through here. Oh. This is where we're at in the draft. Wait, it's not where we're at. There we go. Oh, we're in the 4th round already. Wow. Caleb Fuller. Screen's kind of blurry. I don't know. That might be something on your end. If I'm wrong, I apologize. So we'll see. I'm trying to control my stream from my phone. That's what I'm trying to test out here. I've been testing this whole time. Yeah, I could just control this from my phone. I didn't know this existed. I'm just pushing a button on my phone. It's going to be useful if we stream during the draft, so I don't need to be up here in my computer while everyone else is behind me and blurred out, So I've been trying to test things like that out. But I also wanted to get my chat up on something else. That was the main purpose of the stream, to test some things out. Back to the chat. Does Alex Leatherwood play guard or tackle at the NFL level? I love him at guard. I think he's strong blocker, really good in terms of his run blocking ability. Pass protection, he was solid at Alabama. There wasn't too much competition in terms of edge rush out there. It was a weaker year, a lot of good opt-outs, especially in the SEC, though, a little weaker than normal. I just don't know if he's quick enough. For his size and his strength, he is pretty quick, but I don't know if he's quick enough to handle those pass rushers in the NFL at tackle. So I like him a lot better at guard. I think he'd be a really good guard. Thoughts on Dylan Stoner from OK State? Yeah, not much on him. Is that kind of probably an undrafted, a borderline guy? Reminds me a little bit of, I'd say maybe like an Amendola type guy. He's kind of just a sneaky good possession guy. But Oklahoma State was kind of odd. They stuck guys in one spot, and they actually ran the ball for a Big 12 team. For them, they kind of ran the ball a little more than normal. So maybe a little more upside with the right team. I just not much on him. I don't have much on him. I haven't heard much on him. It's just one of those. Probably a good undrafted guy picked up. Maybe somebody takes him late. Vikings took Mond. I didn't see that. I would like that. I would like it. I think they would prefer a guy like Davis Mills, though. That's the thing. Any sleepers in the tight end class? I like Trey McKitty a lot from Georgia. He used to play at Florida State. I know Bucky Brooks, started hyping him up, so maybe it's not too much of a sleeper now, but I think he's a sneaky weapon type of guy. Jacob Harris from Central Florida could be the later sleeper. There's not too many tight ends I'm in love with taking. Like if I'm picking for a team, I don't really plan to target a tight end. If I had to predict, I wouldn't be picking a tight end later, really. It's just there's not getting much there. Thoughts on Dwayne Eskridge? Fast after the catch. He was dominant production-wise on the outside at Western Michigan, but he kind of gets the feeling that he's a slot guy in the NFL. So could that be risky? Is he going to work in the slot? He didn't see too much press. He was just faster than the guys on the outside. So could he be a slot? He doesn't have a big route tree. It was pretty much slant or post. People call Michael Thomas the slant king or whatever slant boy. I don't know what they call him. I'm calling him the slant king. I think people say slant boy. It just sounds ridiculous. Dwayne Eskridge could be that next guy. He's a slant machine, and he catches it, and he's gone. Like there's no catching him. So he's pretty good. I think 3rd round for Eskridge. Chaz Surratt, it's another risky prospect. He was a quarterback turned linebacker, which you kind of like because he understands the most important position on the other side of the ball. You could assume he's instinctive, Hopefully, he looks like it on tape. But the bad thing is, yeah, he still got a ways to go, I feel like. He was pretty good for just switching positions, but missed quite a bit of tackles. Looked like he improved it in 1 year. I wish we saw another year to see if he improved it even further. But it would make sense that he's not the best tackler, not the surest of tacklers because he was at quarterback. But does it mean he continues to get better? So it's a little risky there. Not the lengthiest linebacker either. Everyone's looking for length these days. Probably goes in the third. I might feel more comfortable saying he's for me personally, a late third, early fourth. Rashad Wildgoose from Wisconsin. Yeah, at one point we thought he could be a little better prospect than he actually is. I think his size is the problem. I think that's a problem with a lot of those corners. The ones that are just, because I've heard of several NFL coaches saying I don't know, what did he, I would actually like to know what he measured in at. I know he's undersized. I just don't know the exact height on the top of my head. So I'm actually going to look up the exact height. But I believe, is he 5'9", or does he make it in at 5'10"? He's this has him listed at 5'10". I don't know if that's his official pro day, the official pro day numbers. But some teams will not draft a guy under 5'10" to play him at outside corner. So that's the problem with him. He's kind of an outside corner that, is going to be a slot at the NFL level. Does he have the proof that he can play there? Some may think so, some may not. So he's probably a later guy, but he had pretty damn good play for Wisconsin. I thought he stood out, but it could be guy Trey Brown from Oklahoma. He's got a pretty damn good tape. The guy's 5'9", and he was he's got a pretty good tape at outside corner. That's kind of a problem. You almost wish he played inside, had good tape inside, because there are teams that just will not put him outside at 5'9". He had a good tape, but there's just teams that just won't put him out there. And will they draft him for the inside when there's a guy over here that but played very well on the inside at the college level, and here's a guy here that played only outside, and you're not going to play him outside? It's tough. That's where it becomes a business, So there's a lot of guys like that. I did not see what Bucky Brooks said about Lamar Jackson. Tommy Tremble could go higher. Yeah, he could go in the second round. What's the latest I could see Pitts going? It's not late. Very latest 6 at the Dolphins, maybe. I don't even think he's there, honestly. I think he's going 4 or 5, really. I think he goes 4 or 5. Bucky Brooks said, I didn't hear him say that. He's been kind of wild with his takes this year, but that's definitely a wild one. Should replace Lamar Jackson with Justin Fields. I do not agree with that. You don't replace Lamar Jackson right now. You try to make him even better by getting him some help, and he's plenty good enough right now. I think McDuffie's a good sleeper for linebackers. Yeah, later. Kind of undersized, he's a good tackler at the college level, but he got ran over. He got ran over by Ian Book. Ian Book gave him the truck stick one time, so you don't like to see that from your inside linebackers. I wish he had more reps outside, so we're a little more comfortable with putting him in the right spot. Jalen Darden, we talked about him. I like him as a slot receiver option. Tons of production. Late third, early fourth, maybe. Davion Nixon from Iowa. I think he was really good this year. He was really good. He had plenty of production. All the production you see in the stat department, that was his production. Because other guys have moments where it doesn't show up in the box score. That you see on tape and go, wow, okay. That didn't really happen for Nixon. The good moments that we knew about were kind of the good moments, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not, it's not a guy you all of a sudden like even more. I think the problem is he's specifically a 3 technique, which is so specific. If it's not just D tackle, it's such a specific defensive tackle that I think for that reason he drops a little bit because it really, which teams want to draft that, need that, want to draft it. The list starts to shrink a little bit. Those teams know, well, we can wait. We know this team's not going to take that. We know this team's not going to take that. So I think that can cause him to fall, but I think it could be a pretty damn good 3 technique. It's just such a specific of a position. Tony Fields from West Virginia's sleeper linebacker option. I'd say. I mean, he could go as high as. I'd say he could go as high as 5th. But that's probably his range though. 5 might go in later. 5. He's solid though. Definitely has his moments there. Let's see. Afatu Melifonwu from Syracuse. Yeah, I heard he could go late first. Actually, that could be a sneaky pick late first. I'm more likely the second round. I grade him in round 2. There's things to really, really like. It's a good pick for the Bengals, Derek Barnes. I like Derek Barnes a lot. There's things I really like about Melifonwu. I mean, his size, his athleticism for that size. I mean, freak athlete, freak build, length. And he's got good tape, too. He's got good tape. When the ball is caught or on the ground, he does a good job attacking it, making the tackle. When the ball's in the air downfield, he's pretty good covering. The big problem with him is something I don't like, though, is he seems like one of those guys that's afraid to get beat deep. He kind of plays far off the ball as it is, probably too far off, and then he's one of those guys that kind of backs up even more after that, be pre-snap, as it snapped. He allows things underneath because he doesn't want to get beat deep. He's not a guy that should be afraid to get beat deep, So can teams fix that? It's in here, obviously. Can they fix that? I think if he goes to a cover 3 or cover 4 team, I like him in cover 3. That I think he'd be damn good. I think so. It really depends on the team that takes him, but I do think he's a second round guy. Could go late first. Screen's blurry. It's not blurry on my end for some reason. I don't know. Not blurry for me. Calvin Joseph's off the field issues. Why did I close that? Yeah, I think really only teams know right now. I mean, he got, we don't really know exactly he said he's kind of changed his ways from when he was younger. I kind of believe him, but I don't know. That's a tough one. I think teams will have different opinions on him. You really never got details on what, why he left LSU, what happened there, but I don't think it's much of a problem to answer your question. I think he could go late first, but it's more likely he goes early second. I don't really think he drops because of that. I think he's a little bit of a raw prospect that has the traits. I think there are, so I think that's why he's going to go where he's going to go. Which late round projected player do you think could be one of the best players in the draft? That's a good question. That's a good question. Late rounds. It's hard to think of the top of my head here. It's more likely to be a receiver. It's probably a good choice. Choose one of those receivers down there because there's loads of them, so the good ones get pushed back late, and we're kind of expecting some late. It could be a running back as well. There's quite a few guys. It depends on where these running backs go, because I've heard guys like Kylan Hill from Mississippi State and guys like Chris Evans from Michigan. I think they should be 3rd or 4th round picks in that range, but from what I've heard, they're going to go from people that they may go way later. So those I think those could be starting running backs in the NFL very early in the career. So those could be like the James Robinsons this year. Look at receivers. Talk about Dax Milne a little bit. Guy that can go later that can end up having a very, very productive NFL career. I mean, it depends how late, does Cornell Powell slip through? I feel like he's weird because he's kind of older prospect, but he's kind of was just getting better, So I think if he slips through, possibility. Trying to think some of those. Let's see. Tough to say on the top of my head. I need to look at my whole entire board. Yeah, Pete Werner first round buzz. I don't see it. He's solid. I just don't see that. I just don't see it in the first round. I think he's going to play. I mean, he could play middle in a 3-4. He could play outside in a 4-3. Could he potentially play middle in a 4-3? Probably not. I'd like him at 4-3 outside. Trying to think which team. I just don't see it. He's talented. He's always flying towards the ball, pretty solid in coverage. Was asked from some tough tasks too, so they believe in him a lot. I just don't see it. Go now. Who do you hope your team takes in round 1? My team's the Vikings. If they stay put, Christian Darsaw is kind of the best case left tackle. They need offensive line so bad, but at the same time, wouldn't really be against going with one of those edge rushers. Jason Oway's really growing on me. I love Jalen Phillips, so I wouldn't be. Those would be more appealing, really. I mean, Darsaw's. He had a damn good. His tape in 2020 was ridiculous, So that would kind of be. I'm scrolling back. Some people were asking, but yeah, it's hard for them to miss there. They could trade back. That's already up the second round. We got to scroll down here. Pete Werner, we were just talking about getting some first round buzz. Don't think it happens, but Juan here got him in the 4th. Yeah. Jake Funk, Maryland. Yeah, some of you use him as a fullback, or were you using him as a rotation running back? It's going to be interesting. I don't know if he gets drafted. You could build your team around 3 cornerstones. Which positions would you choose? The 3 most important positions in football are quarterback, offensive tackle, and edge rusher. That's the 3 most important. So those are the positions I'm going with. Quarterback, tackle, edge rush. If it's a 3-4, it's outside linebacker. It's a 4-3, it's defensive end. It's kind of a trick question, though, at the same time, because if you can find an Aaron Donald, then that becomes interior pressure is a complete game changer. It could be more of a game, even though edge rush seems to be so important because those are the best pass rushers in the field. But if you can find an interior guy that's just as good or better, like Aaron Donald, in terms of pass rusher than the outside guys, then that's your choice. But it's just insanely rare to come across because interior pressure, it forces the quarterback to do things he does not want to do. Quickly get outside the pocket, impossible to find your read then. You got to turn your body, impossible. So that's why Aaron Donald's kind of known as maybe the best defensive player in football. Picks for the Eagles. Stan Marek building up the secondary there. De'Ami Brown. Jamie Newman. Pretty good picks there. De'Ami Brown. I like De'Ami Brown a lot. It's good value. It's just, Rager's kind of a downfield guy. Downfield or backfield, end around, screen pass type of guy. Nothing in between. And Hightower they drafted last year, which they shouldn't have much value in him. They could replace him, but he's a downfield guy. So I'm just saying they may feel like they have downfield guys. Their problem is getting the separation early in the route, so they may go, which Brown I think could do. It's just the proof really isn't there yet. Terrible Take Tuesday will come back at some point. Definitely will come back at some point. Thinking we were kind of discussing making the podcast Terrible Take Tuesday, so we got some things we're talking about. So, best free safety fit for the Patriots. It depends on where they would take one. Some teams are going to have the top 2 guys, Merrick and Holland. Some teams have those guys at free. Some teams have them at strong because they played all over the place. They didn't really have a firm position, though. So it's versatile, but a little risky because what's their firm position? True free safety, you look at, Cisco, Jamar Johnson, and Richie Grant. I think there's a pretty big separation after those guys. So if you feel like you need a free safety, I think you land one of those 3 guys there in kind of that 3rd round range, maybe late 2nd, maybe early 4th. But that was Richie Grant, Cisco, Jamar Johnson, because there is a pretty big drop-off. I do like Wiggins from Cincinnati. He's just had so many injuries. Or Darius Washington, solid free safety option as well, I suppose. The Bills could go that Sam linebacker. They could feel like they're missing Yeah, because when they had Lorenzo Alexander a couple years ago, it was kind of like a hybrid role there. It was more off the ball linebacker, but let's use him off the edge at time. Let's send him after the quarterback at times because Alexander had familiarity with playing off ball and rushing. So they could go in the first. They could if Collins there. Asai's not going to go in the first. I'd be surprised if Asai goes in the first. He's more likely to go in the third than he is in the first. Probably a second to third guy. I just don't know. I don't think teams will have somebody's bound. All it takes is one team to say, we got a plan for this guy. And I'm sure they have plans. They have pre-draft process. But there's really no set plan for Joseph Asai right now because he's an off-the-ball linebacker playing the edge rush position. That's what it is. And it feels like that too. Do you have confidence that he can be that firm edge rush guy, a really good one? Off the ball, he had a trial there. He was pretty good, but it's not a must-have guy, Darius Washington, I brought him up. I like him at free safety. A lot of split safety action at TCU where it's just there's really technically no free or strong. It's just Washington got that boundary. You got Mareg as that boundary, but to me it felt like Darius Washington was more the free safety. That's what it felt like, and his ball skills will say free safety. He's a little undersized. For being undersized, you wish he was faster speed-wise, but quickness and explosiveness is definitely there. He doesn't have the long speed, which you want from a free safety. So that's a tough part. But he's got good ball skills, got good tape. Probably a fourth-round guy. Yes. Thoughts on Jaguars picks, and then we'll look at 49ers picks. It was supposed to be Trevor Lawrence, so keep that in mind. It's really Trevor Lawrence here. Barmore, Etienne, Grant, Freiermuth, Darius Washington, and Jalen Darden. It's a pretty good draft. That's a pretty good draft. I don't think Barmore is going to be there. And we're considering Trevor Lawrence here because you meant to pick Trevor Lawrence. But I don't think Barmore's going to be there, but that'd be a great pick if he was there. And then Etienne in the second definitely makes some sense there. I don't want them to take him in the first. Richie Grant in the second. Here's the problem. I think you took two free safeties. I know some people and whoever drafted for him view Richie Grant as a strong. I do not. He's got reps there, and I just view him as a free. So it felt like in Washington, some people say maybe he can play strong. I just view both those guys as free safeties that happen to get some reps at strong and in the slot. That's cool. I view them as both free. So maybe kind of one or the other there. But Freiermuth, some people don't want the Jags taking him with those early second-round picks. I think it'd be a reach. He definitely needs to work on his blocking. I like him in the third round. That's basically what I'm getting to. Darden I like a lot in the fourth there. Get that true slot receiver that they could use. They don't need desperately, but they could use, obviously. 49ers. Trey Lance, Wyatt Davis, Benjamin St. Juste, Paris Ford, and Kenneth Gainwell. Not really. Don't love the Wyatt Davis pick. Not against it. St. Juste is a solid fourth to fifth option. Paris Ford, that's too early. Not really a big fan of his tape. But I'm not a big fan of his speed. That's the main thing. I don't think he has the speed. Definitely on the slower side for a free safety. I like Kenneth Gainwell for them a lot, though. That's kind of it's McKinnon. It's younger, healthier. I maybe upgrade at this point, McKinnon. So I'd actually like that a lot right there. Washington at slot corner. Yeah, it can make that happen. Thoughts on Jamie Sherwood? He's almost like a linebacker. He's kind of a box safety. Lacking speed, though. He's lacking. He's not even fast enough to play linebacker. It's a tough part. Pretty good tape. Flies around the field. It's probably gonna be the 5th to 6th range. Probably 6 just because he's lacking speed. Who was I supposed to check? Rams. They go quarterback. Mills, Trask. Wait, what? They went 2 quarterbacks. Jordan Smith. Jared Hawker. Hey, quarterback crazy right there. I like Jordan Smith in the third. I don't know about those quarterbacks. So, Steelers. I kind of like what they did here. Vera Tucker, going to plug and play at guard or maybe a left tackle. Jalen Mayfield, plug and play at right tackle. Potentially could play guard. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I'm a big fan of him. Definitely like him in the fourth. Could be their starting back. He really could be. Rashad Weaver. I don't know if that's really a fit. He definitely wouldn't fit because they run a 3-4. He definitely wouldn't fit outside linebacker in their 3-4. He potentially could fit 3-4 defensive end. I just like him more as a 4-3 end, you know. James Wiggins, I like Wiggins. You know, does he really pair with Fitzpatrick? Played some split safety, so good. Just kind of depth guy there, I guess. But he's got if Wiggins stays healthy, he's pretty good. He's pretty damn good. Giants. Taking a look at the Giants. Micah Parsons, Eichenberg, Darius Toney all the way down there. That's surprising. I can't see that. There we go. Take going. Another corner for the Giants. Cameron Sample, Drake Jackson. I like it. Cam Sample, another guy I view as a 4-3 end. In their scheme, would he play 3-4? You know, I just like him more 4-3. Giants run 3-4. Drake Jackson could play center for them. Overall, it's good. You know, I like Parsons a lot, especially. They traded back for Parsons. That's kind of a jackpot. You know, you get more picks and you still get a big-time player like Parsons that fits. Tony's a great pick. So overall, good. Got some good value. Trade back. Got the good picks. Check Bengals. Penny Sewell, Onwuzurike. Too early for Myers, in my opinion. Trey Smith became after Myers, one pick after. I like Derek Barnes. Pretty good pick. He actually could probably start. You know, the Bengals are looking for linebackers. Overall, pretty solid. Just never got that X receiver that they really need. I think they can use another edge rusher as well. But it's not always about need. Who am I supposed to check now? Washington. Did I miss? Jamin Davis, Joe Tryon. It's good value for Tryon there. I just don't see them taking an edge rusher. Trimble, Surratt, Cisco, Norwood. Yeah, pretty solid. I think Surratt's a good fit. Tremble fits with Logan Thomas. I like Cisco a lot. Pretty solid. Man, it's annoying when that pops up. Monroe St. Brown, Jalen Twyman, Cameron McGrone. Pretty solid there. Like for them to go edge rusher, edge rusher or corner. You know, again, it's not all about specific position, but Twyman's probably going to be changed to nose tackle. True Williams is a pretty good. He's listed at safety, but he's slot. That's a slot guy. It's kind of like I don't want to say poor man's, but kind of a lesser Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's with the Saints out of Florida. That's how I view True Williams. A little more built, though, too. A little more built, but that's kind of the style of play. Broncos. Kwity Paye was kind of a surprising pick. Jabril Cox. I don't really like those fits. They would make Paye work. They'd make it work there. Cox, I don't like the fit. You know, they'd probably switch him to strong safety. That's probably because he covers linebacker. You know, they're outside. He's an outside 4-3. You know, that's what he is. The ability to cover. You know, they're not going to stick him inside. Their Broncos outside linebackers are pass rushers. So I just don't really love the fit. Rodarius Williams is a good sleeper out of Oklahoma State. I like his game. Hamza Nazir-Ladine from Florida State. It's a boomer bust guy for sure. Yeah, that's a pretty good Kareem Jackson, kind of getting ready for Kareem Jackson's department. You know, after this next year, that's pretty good right there. I like that fit actually a lot. Cam Bynum from California probably could go. Yeah, he's got some. He had pretty good tape. It's just kind of the guys he doesn't really wow you. You know, he kind of just just solid, just a solid ball player there, but probably around, fifth, sixth round maybe. Just not a lot of buzz on him. Packers, and Cowboys I saw. Cowboys are closer. So Phillips, yeah, this is looking like a pretty good draft here for the Cowboys. I like that draft a lot. That's a good draft. I don't know how you got Aaron Robinson in the fourth rounds. That's a loaded draft class. They had a loaded draft class last year, so maybe Jerry pulls it off again. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Packers, Marshall, Stokes. This is good too. I mean, do they grab Little and Christensen? Probably not, but it looks good. Tamorrion Terry. That's funny because I think other people have said that as well. Another Marquez Valdes-Scantling type guy. They'll like him. That's a pretty damn good draft there for the Packers. I like Marshall and Stokes for them. Odigizua compare with Kenny Clark. I just think maybe they don't go back-to-back tackles like this, but they value the offensive line, so maybe they do. Maybe they got a plan to move somebody to guard. Who knows? Pretty important. They probably could use a starter out of one of these, make a starter out of one of those two guys, and then have some important depth. Bakhtiari got hurt last year. Bills. Let me say the Bills. Jesus, I can't see that X over there. Russo, Harris, Tutu, pretty solid. Add some more speed at receiver. Get your running back. They got a big running back room. Long list of guys, but do they have that true number one is the question. Russo, I would like for them. I like him at 4-3 end or 3-4 end. In this case, he'd play 4-3 end. Eagles' last pick. That's the Jets. Divine Diablo. Yeah, I like Diablo as a strong safety. I think he goes earlier in that, so it's pretty good value. Trying to think what their defense are trying to run. How would they... I think Kayvon Wallace fits that same style role. Who I like. We didn't really see much of him year one. I like Wallace. I think he's going to be a good football player, so that's a guy to watch for this year. So I think it's a similar style, strong safety that kind of can play everywhere, could come in the box, almost act like a linebacker. What was behind the name Frogs Angels? We used to be big gamers. We used to record and upload some gaming videos as well at the same time as, kind of the sports videos. And somebody's gamer tag back in the day was Clyde Frog. So I don't know how we came up with Frogs Angels, but that's what it was. So that does sound more like a gaming channel name, but got rid of that. Much needed, obviously. I don't know if Packers need to edge that bad. They got three solid guys. Preston Smith could be gone after this year's a possibility. All right, maybe ending the I know this is not over yet, but I wasn't going to sit here live for the whole thing. Just kind of want to answer some questions and test out some things. We plan to live stream. Nothing's set for sure yet. We definitely need to figure it out, get our act together. There's Trill Williams. We were just talking about him, but we definitely plan on live streaming during day one of the NFL draft. Of course, we can't really show the draft for copyright reasons. We kind of play the audio of each pick, react to it. So that's kind of the plan. If you follow us on Twitter, we'll have instant updates, any links that you need. So that's a must follow there for sure at Codehouse NFL. But yeah, I mainly wanted to get on here and stream because I was testing out some things. Didn't really get a whole bunch done with that. It's kind of hard to test while I'm actually live streaming here. Yeah. We could check Cardinals draft. We could... Thoughts on William Bradley King? Yeah, I actually liked his tape. Baylor defensive end. I liked his tape. Kind of hot or cold. His problem, he jumps off sides, or they didn't call him a lot actually. He just really is on his toes and leans over the line so much. And He just couldn't fix that for some reason. So I think if it wasn't for that, he'd probably get drafted a lot earlier. He's got a problem there, but he's going to get called for a lot of offsides unless somehow you would think maybe that's an easy thing to fix. Maybe it's a program in their head. I saw somebody say Falcons too. Kyle Pitts, Holland. It's a pretty good draft there. Pretty solid draft for the Falcons. Cardinals. Molden from Washington would be like a Byron Murphy from Washington, who they already got. Same role. I like Kyle and Hill for them. I like that a lot, actually. What do we say? Vikings. Darsaw. Turner's an excellent fit. Ben Cleveland. Jamar Johnson's a really good fit at free safety for them. Cleveland would probably start at guard for them, honestly. This looks like a pretty good draft. Kellen Mond's not going to be there in the fourth, but I love it. Ambry Thomas, I have a second-round grade on. It's probably one of my guys because nobody's talking about Ambry Thomas from Michigan. Love his tape and his upside. This would be an elite draft for the Vikings right here. This would be like a dream draft. I think a little more realistic if you swap. Yeah, Mond's not really realistic at all. Thomas would probably have to be using that third round. One of those third. That would be a deadly draft right there. I'd be on board for that. But yeah, check the Dolphins. Oh my God, every time. Yeah, I like the fit of. I'm not a big Collins guy. It's gonna be risky, but I feel like he does fit. Love Javonte Williams. Quinn Miners is a really good fit. I really think they'll target Miners. You know, we kind of got the feeling that they might target Austin Jackson last year, just not in the first, and it took them way too early. So I'm a little worried. I got the feeling they may target Miners. A little worried they may do it. I don't see them doing it in the first. I don't see that. Maybe at the fourth pick in the second. I think that's a little early, but we'll see. Janerius Robinson, as another Ugba type guy, I think he's going to have a better pro career. Strong, very powerful pass rusher. Good stop and run too. Darius Stills. Darius Stills is starting to grow on me a little bit down there. That's his range. He's pretty explosive, quick. You know, doesn't look like the best athlete, but really is a twitchy athlete. You know, for an interior D line. Those are the interior D line. You know, the twitchy ones that can hold their own in terms of strength, have enough of it, which, you know, maybe he could have more, but those guys seem to be succeeding today in the NFL, so that could be a sneaky guy down there. Justin Hilliard, who went, probably would be a day 2 pick if it wasn't for the injuries. He's barely even started any games because of the injuries. Talented guy from Ohio State there. What's the floor pick for Parsons? Probably the Dolphins' 18th pick. I don't think I see it dropping that far, but it's probably the floor. It's the floor. Chargers. Jenkins, moving him from right to left. Elijah Moore's not going to be there in a second, but that's fantastic. Dabo, I like him for their scheme. McNeil, I like McNeil a lot. Good Linval Joseph, kind of getting ready for his replacement. Michael Carter, Ellerson Smith. I think Ellerson Smith fits more of a 4-3. They're running the 3-4. Trey McKitty. Yeah, that's a pretty good draft overall. I see Bears. Fields, trade up for Fields. What did they? Oh, my Lord. Yeah, it's going to be tough to give up that much if the Bears do that. That's why the good and bad. Like, the good is like, oh, my God, did the Bears finally get a quarterback? They got a good ball player in Justin Fields. They'll be better with him than Andy Dalton, but how much better? That's going to be kind of the good. The bad is they just kind of killed their future, and I think the Bears need future. Justin Fields is future, but they need a lot more than that. A first, a second, the swap, a second, and a next year first. It's too much. That's too much, in my opinion. Nico Collins, I like that. And Tyree Gillespie. I don't know what to do. It's a pretty good pick in the 5th round. I just don't. Gillespie, 1 second, he's he's a strong. He doesn't wow me at either. You know, I think some teams might have the same problem. Pretty good ball player overall. Felipe Franks, I think he's going to go a little earlier than people are thinking. Probably a little earlier than he should. I mean, obviously, you don't really see that big of a quarterback that can move. Just some inconsistencies with the accuracy and decision-making. I would say, 6th round makes sense, but he might go in the 5th. He might go in the 5th there. All right, a couple more I'm going to look at. I'm going to sign off. Baltimore, Waddle would be ideal. They have to trade up. Dickerson. Really worried about Dickerson's injury history. I mean, clear first-round pick talent, first-round talent. One of probably the biggest injury concerns here. So I don't really feel good about taking him in the first. I'm not a big Patrick Jones guy. He had production, but if you watch, there's really nothing to love there. He's got some length. Length and production he had. Doesn't really do anything at extremely high level. I think he's going to have a problem with the physicality of the NFL tackles. Spencer Brown's an upside guy. He allowed a lot of pressure, but he's an athletic, kind of today's swing tackle type of guy. What do we say? Browns picks. We looked at this. I like these picks for them. We already looked at that. I like those picks. Talked about Dez Fitzpatrick already, kind of a sneaky guy that could kind of go back to where he was. We thought he's going to be a lot better early in his career. Panthers, Slater, Nixon. I don't know if they would take a guy like Nixon. I guess they could. Calvin Joseph was a fantastic pick in the 3rd round. Monty Rice, Deontay Smith. Smith's an upside guy, too. He allowed a lot of pass rush at the quarterback there, but he's an athletic freak, got good technique, just got to kind of clean it all up. Patriots. Mac Jones at 11. Can't go wrong with that. Keith Taylor, a little early for Taylor. One of those guys that has the traits, just needs to put it together. Pete Werner's fantastic, round 4. Tommy Togiai in the 4th round. Another guy, he had good play this year, good production. Not really sure what to do with him because he's kind of a nose tackles style of play, but he doesn't have the strength for nose tackle, but he doesn't have the athleticism for D tackle in the NFL, so it's kind of tough with him. Trey Sermon in the 4th, can't go wrong with that. Seth Williams in the 4th, pretty solid as well. Seth Williams might have some similar problems to N'Keal Harry, though, with the separation, so they probably pass on him. Bills, didn't we just look at the Bills? I think we they got Rasu. We just looked at this. Morgan, don't have much on him, a little early. Josh Ball is sneaky sleeper tackle from Marshall there. Raiders. I was going to make a video kind of going over all these when they're done. You guys can, let's see. Cormora, Leatherwood. Rodgers in the 2nd. Prefer him in the 3rd, but a good ball player. Roche's kind of falling down my board a little bit. He's going to go later in that. LeCount, lacking speed. Probably going to go a little later. So there's some picks here I really like, just some that are reaches. We looked at the Packers already. They had a really good draft. That's a really good draft in my opinion. There's steals every year. Mid to late first. There's steals every year. And there will be steals. But I think I'm going to sign off for this. I didn't really plan on live streaming this whole thing. I'm going to try to make a video one day this week going through 7-round mock. Going through all of these teams, looking at their 7-round mocks and just kind of breaking it down real quick. We got a bunch of videos planned. I'm trying to go work on some the graphics on videos now because we got a lot of good ideas planned. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Anytime you need the answers to something, info on something, we plan on live streaming during day one. We're going to give you updates there. Follow our Twitter at GoDosNFL. It is, if you don't have a Twitter, I really recommend you making one. I'm not just saying that to get more followers. I'm saying it because people ask me questions that are answered on there all the time. It's very useful. So I definitely go check that out. But yeah, we'll have updates on everything here. We'll be talking during these videos in the upcoming week with those updates as well. So yeah. 2 more we're going to look at. Lions and Saints. Lions got Devontae Smith, Basham, Hudson, Lark, Jack. I like this draft. Jackson, that's way too early for Jackson, though. third round. It's too early. He was kind of a big name guy a while ago, long time ago, early in his career. Didn't really pan out that way. Maybe we can get him back there. I like Hudson a lot. So it's a really good draft. Besides Jackson's a pretty big reach, but other than that, really good draft. Saints. Last one. I'm going to sign off. Got to go. Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley would be my number one corner if there wasn't injury concern, but unfortunately there is injury concern. So it'd be a pretty good value pick there, but it's going to be in the back of your mind, is he going to stay healthy? Baron Browning I like for them. Coverage linebacker. Give Demario Davis more reps on the blitz. I like it. Eskridge. Another slant king. Pair with Michael Thomas. Marlon Tui Pulotu from USC. I like that. You can play kind of a new school type of nose tackle. Kolar, Robert Rochelle, that's a damn good. Robert Rochelle, ladies and gentlemen, might be the biggest freak athlete in this entire draft. This guy's an absolute freak of an athlete. I don't think he makes it to here. He does not get out of round 3. He might go round 2. The guy's a freak. He doesn't have the technique down. He's kind of new with the cornerback position. A lot of upside, big time upside guy, because he has the traits. He's a freak athlete. When it comes to the testing, but I've seen videos of him doing these crazy box jumps off 1 foot. The guy's insane. It's definitely an upside guy to look out for. But they load up on the corners here. The upside guys. All right, but I think we're going to sign off. Appreciate you. The main purpose, again, was take a look at this, answer some questions. I was kind of testing some things out, so maybe it wasn't the best live stream of all time, but we're excited about what's coming here this week with the content and the NFL. The NFL draft's my favorite days of the year. I'm sure a lot of yours as well. We have you covered fully here, so yeah, I'm signing off.